Hello to everyone. So great to see you here, and especially on ETHGlobal hackathon. Maybe you know that Gearbox originally was a finalist 1 year ago, and really I so appreciate the hackers who create something interesting, something new in DeFi space. So pretty happy to be here, and to be honest, we are very open. So feel free during hackathon to ask me or my teammates to help you everywhere, because we are burned from hackathon, so it's pretty native to be there. And let's start to talking about Gearbox and what we are working on. So Gearbox mission is to bring capital efficiency in device space, and we create the way how to create composable leverage in DeFi. So at the moment, in the second version, we can achieve X12 leverage, and we provide leverage as a service. So we do not focus on make IMM with leverage or a service which could help you to open short or long position. Instead of that, we create a really interesting protocol which could provide you ability to use leverage funds across DeFi protocols. And this feature opens a really amazing opportunities because you can create a lot of new composable strategies. And another thing which very significant at this market, that there is no funding raise. So let's start and make hands dirty from architecture side. So as you can see, Gearbox is two-side protocol. On the left side, you can see liquidity providers. These people who are looking for passive strategy, they just provide liquidity to get high APY. And it's a value what they are looking for. They are not willing to sit at the computer 24/7, find best strategy, and so on and so on. And to be honest, I am a shit trader. If I go and believe that Bitcoin will go up, it will immediately go down, and so on and so on. So for people like me, liquidity providing is a good value because I shouldn't spend my time. I want to put money, and that's all. But what is really interesting is the right part. And here you can see a trader. This guy wants to be more capital efficient. So trader could open a credit account. Credit account is a new DeFi primitive. This is isolated smart contract. So when traders send funds to this credit account could immediately take margin loan from the pool. And after opening this credit account, trader could send different financial orders or transactions in our way to get, which could be executed on behalf of credit account on third-party protocol. So let's check how it works step by step. So on the first point, as I said, you as a trader could open credit account. And here you can see trader provide 10S and takes 9S from the pool. So after opening credit account, trader has 100S. Each credit account is nominated in one asset. So here you can see credit account which is nominated in Ethereum, which simply means that debt, interest rate, and fees are also in S. And then when you open credit account, you can use it across different protocols. However, you have no direct access to the funds. So basically, you can't put money into your pocket. However, you can use it for different strategies on different protocols. And let's check how it works. So from the technical side, as a trader, you send a transaction. And usually, transaction is address and the call data. But instead of sending this transaction to Uniswap, for example, you send the same call data to a special smart contract, which is called adapter. So basically, you have Uniswap v3 adapter, Uniswap v2 adapter, Curve adapter, and so on and so on. And sending transaction to such a contract, this transaction would be executed and credit account funds would be involved. So basically, from developer side, you send the same transaction to credit account, likewise you want to use, and then your funds would be executed. So we have a few checks to understand that pool funds are safe. The first one, we should be really ensured that the contract you want to interact is whitelisted. I think it's a pretty simple. The second point that we want to understand that the token which you could get as a result could be used as collateral. Pretty simple. If you want to swap S to DAI, it's okay. If you want to swap S to some shitcoin, it's not good for us because you as a trader use not only your own funds, you use some pool funds and we should be insured. And the last check after transaction was done, we checked that health factor is more than 1, which means that we have enough collateral to pay debt back. Maybe any questions at this point? Or it's clear? Okay. So now let's check what means this health factor and how credit account could be considered. So basically on the right side, you can see credit account as a list of different assets. And each asset has quantity and price which is taken from Chainlink Price Oracle. So basically we can compute pretty simple values. The first one is portfolio value. We can multiply each asset quantity to price, summarize, and get how much money in underlying asset, which is S in our case, we can get if we swap everything immediately. It's pretty clear, yeah? The next point, which is called threshold weighted value, or TVV at this page, means threshold weighted value. So basically, liquidation takes time. Yeah? And during liquidation time, price can go down, so we could make an over-collateralization. However, in Aave, it's a huge over-collateralization, like 50% more. In Gearbox, we use a parameter, which is liquidation threshold, LTI, on this slide, which represent maximum expected price drop during liquidation time. So basically, it works as is price is going down, health factor becomes 1. So this credit account could be liquidated by third-party liquidators. However, we have a liquidation threshold which becomes a buffer to have enough funds to send them back to the pool. And this liquidation threshold could be close to 1 for 2 stable coins, for example, DAI and USDC, because we do not expect in a few more blocks that the price between DAI and USDC would be dramatically changed, correct? By the way, as opposite, if we have 2 assets like Bitcoin and DAI, of course, Bitcoin price could go down drastically. At this space, liquidation threshold could be 0.6 or 0.7 to create enough buffer to be liquidated and after liquidation have enough funds to pay back debt and interest rate. And as liquidator, you just get a discount from portfolio value. So you as a liquidator, because everything computed with Chainlink price feed, which looks like pretty fair prices, get 5% discount. So basically, if portfolio costs 100S, you can take it from 95S, and 5S would be your profit to swap everything back and pay to the pool. And simply, health factor is just the ratio between threshold weighted value and borrow amount plus interest rate. And it's pretty clear that if health factor is less than 1, that means that threshold weighted value is less than borrow amount, and this account could be liquidated. Any questions at the moment? Guys, do not hesitate, because it's pretty complex or not? Or it's clear? It's okay. Okay, cool.
It's like both. A bit complicated, but clear.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, you can really imagine that credit account have a few boxes with different coins. And each your transaction, then you put coins from one box and put into other box. And then we recompute the value and understand, is it enough for us money to pay back? So each transaction, I know it's a pretty strange words, but even if you put something into a farm, you get some LP tokens. So basically you subtract from one token and increase the quantity of LP tokens. So basically Gearbox, then you switch in tokens between these boxes, or these boxes could be viewed like a table, like a credit account, and then this pretty simple math help us to keep your credit account to be able to pay this debt back. And it's really create a good things for us. So basically, as I mentioned, with these credit accounts, you can work on behalf of them with many DeFi protocols. So what we should really do with you is to write a simple contract which is called wrapper, which is called adapter. And this adapter has the same API like original one. If we want to write adapter for Uniswap v2, this adapter will have the same API like original smart contract, and all stuff would be encapsulated. So if you want to use funds from credit account on Gearbox, you create the same transaction like for original Uniswap, just call a methods like create interface in hardhat.get call data and write methods and parameters. You get call data and send it not to original one, to adapter, and it would be executed. So it's a pretty simple integration. And another part, which is also pretty interesting based on that, because credit accounts are really isolated smart contracts. Each of them has their own balance. So you as a user could definitely go to Etherscan, figure out your credit account and get balances. And there are one more interesting feature which we implemented with Wallet Connect, because you can connect Gearbox as standalone application with some native interface like Uniswap or Earn or something like that to get direct interaction. And this Uniswap or Earn or Curve would really believe that you behave on behalf of this credit account. So a short video. We use Wallet Connect for these purposes. And here you can see we enter this Wallet Connect link. Then we go to Uniswap interface, and now it connected to our smart contract. And then, because we provide the same programmatic interface, you have balances from native way, and you can really sign transaction as originally. So it's totally native experience for end users. However, funds are used from credit account smart contracts. So basically you sign up through MetaMask and all magic happens because it looks like your MetaMask credit account. Maybe a good example I tried to say, it's like a credit card in the real world. You can open it once and use across many different shops or restaurants. The same logic here. You open your credit account as another smart contract, and then you can execute any transaction and build strategies in a more native way. So just a few questions and a few comments here. If we talk about Gearbox, it's a pretty interesting way because we really address different segments here. For liquidity providers, as I mentioned, this is a passive, people who are looking for passive strategies. They just provide funds, and that's all. And on the trader sides, it's people who are really could create more value through their strategies, trading, positions, and so on and so on. And it creates a good market for us because there is no funding rate. And if you compare us, for example, with Perp, which also works on leverage, or Square is, on the both sides of this protocol, you can see pro players. And if it's a bull run, everybody wants to buy Ethereum because we expect that as price will go up, it's why funding rate could also increase because nobody wants to be other side, correct? And Gearbox, total opposite, because we do not compete, we do not play each against other, because these guys on liquidity side take value from just providing a liquidity for high APY. And guys who work on the trader side, on credit accounts, are pro guys who know how to trade, how to make profitable strategies, how to earn money. And Gearbox could be considered like a platform which shares money from people which they helped for capital efficiency and provide to LP side. And basically, maybe it's a solution. As I said, I'm a shit trader, how to provide money and get some part of profits. And let's check how it works maybe on, let me check, on programmatic side. Any questions at this moment? Guys? Please do not hesitate, because it's a pretty complex stuff. I know it's maybe not so. So basically, to understand how to work programmatically with Gearbox, we have a website, DevGearbox.fi, and you can check all these explanations. And basically, as you can see here, we have a lot of such things which connects pools and credit managers, which simply a contract which simplify all operations. There are another layer which is called core contracts, and if you want to get everything, you maybe can go to contract discovery option and understand how to figure out and how to take these contracts. But if you go to the credit account sites, what I believe is pretty interesting, maybe it's how it works. So from technical point, we have a user, and user could send transaction to adapters and credit facade, which just an interface to work with other stuff like open and close credit accounts, provide additional collateral, and so on and so on. And when you send a transaction, it goes through a filter. You can see then the call transition to this credit account, and then it executed on behalf of it on third-party protocol. In V2, we support 7 major DeFi protocols. It's Uniswap v2, Uniswap v3, SushiSwap, Curve LP tokens as well, Convex, Earn, and Lido. And basically, let me share, I think maybe it's more interesting for you, a strategy you can build. So maybe it's not the latest presentation. But here you can see some interesting things like yield generation, short-long position. So here you can take X10 leverage. Then you can go to open credit account in RAB BTC. Then you swap to USDC. And then you can open short position and put your stable coins into Earn. So what's impossible? Because there are a lot of leverage protocols in the space when you can just short and do nothing with this stable coin. In Gearbox, you can simply put it to Earn to generate additional APY, and it makes your position more profitable. And if you found sometimes that it's not profitable, you simply could switch from YEarn to Convex to get more APY, and it has pretty low overhead because your funds on credit account and you manage them as your native wallet. Another possible way is to work with Lido with the same things. You can get X10 leverage, then open a zero credit account, so your debt is always in S. Then you really stake this S and put it into Convex, and you can get around 40% APY because, as I said, totally is composable. You can move funds back and forth to get more APY and create pretty complex strategies. And we really do not want to show maybe all things. I really believe that you can create a lot of stuff what could be used for Gearbox, and maybe a few ideas here that it's how it works from feature which we designed for V2, which is called multi-call. So basically what you should do is just to write an array of things you want to execute on Gearbox. You can see here, I want to make a swap, so I generate call data for this call. So I want to execute function which is called swap tokens for exec tokens. It's pretty well known for Uniswap v2. I provide amounts, what I want. I provide path, which should be used then, and address of credit account. However, it's automatically replace it to existing one and deadline. Then I create a list of calls and just call a function which is called multi-call, and it's done. So the easiest way to build strategy, you just explain the system what you want to get, and they do all this stuff and only one collateral check. So basically overhead in gas cost could be close to you do everything manually through MetaMask, and then you will pay around 200K. It depends how many assets you have for full collateral check, and that's all. And you get X10 leverage, which is pretty cool from my point. What's more, we have some strategies and ideas about ribbon and so on. And let me check from here. Yeah. So basically, we try to explain all stuff and provide some additional information how it could be executed. So feel free to check here. If you have any questions, and as I said, from Gearbox, our best goal is to create great developer experience. I believe it's a complex stuff, so feel free to provide us feedback, which things should be really explained more, especially from documentation domain. It's pretty significant for us, and maybe a little bit more about things and limits, what we have. We work with tokens which have Chainlink price oracles. Sometimes people asking, can I add my shitcoin or not? Not, unfortunately, because it have no price feed. And we definitely depends Chainlink price feed, because now we have some conversation with our maker and market leaders to clarify what's the best solution to get price feeds on chain in 2022. And Chainlink is a leader at the moment. Maybe maker has their own price feeds, but by the way, it's a pretty simple. When you start new token, and even if it's traded on Binance, it doesn't mean that it have enough liquidity. And if we start to use it as collateral, and you as an owner of this token have 90% of supply, it's pretty simple to change the rate. Chainlink will provide the same data, but at the end of the day, it could not be considered as good collateral. The second limit, Gearbox yet works only with ERC20 tokens, which also pretty understandable. And the latest things that to add new protocol to a system, we use DAO, and Gearbox DAO is a very, very active, so feel free to go there. A lot of people could help you and tell and provide support. So basically that's all. If you have any questions, let's discuss and I will be happy to answer, or it could be in person during the hackathon.
Good question. You talked a bit about the DAO, and I noticed that there was a graph with the insurance part, so the DAO insuring the pool.
Can you
talk a bit about that?
Yeah, cool. Thanks for question. Yeah. You talk about this insurance, DAO Treasury, yeah. So basically, this question is related how Gearbox earn money, because we take two kind of fees. The first fee is like some overhead for interest rates. So we take a difference between interest rate for LP providers and traders, and it's like 10%, so basically if you have 4% on the pool, it would cost 4.4 to trader, and all these funds would go to DAO, to the pool back. But what is interesting, we do not provide these fees directly to the DAO treasury. Instead of that, we reinvest these funds to the pool and then put LP tokens, which is called diesel tokens, into DAO treasury. And this approach has a very good three advantages. The first one, we increase pool TVL by putting fees there. The second point, tokens, which are in DAO treasury, generate more income because the LP tokens and LP rate is going up with usage of Gearbox. And the third part, if liquidation was a little bit later than expected and we have some loss, to keep this LP token rate on the same level, because LP earn money, then rate of this LP token goes up each time we get money back on the interest rate. We burn some token from burn some LP token from DAO Treasury and cover this loss. So Gearbox has automatically working insurance for the pools. However, of course, we need maybe more time to generate enough LP tokens in DAO Treasury, but they really behaves like automatic insurance for all our operations, which create additional level of safety. But thanks for these questions. Amazing. More questions? Yep.
So with that mechanism, there's increased liquidity in the pool. However, if there's ever a late liquidation, would everyone suffer, including the Treasury?
Not in Treasury. So basically, Treasury holds LP token from each pool. Now we have 4 different pools. So this picture could be replicated 4 times. We have DAI, USDC, WES, and RAPBTC. Basically, each pool generates LP tokens. When you close your credit account, all fees are transferred there. So if we have some late liquidation on some particular pool, this LP token, which correspondingly connects, would be burned automatically. If we have not enough balance, this insurance wouldn't work. Of course, we consider this way. And by the way, I believe it's totally honest because it creates a good responsibility from the DAO side to create really realistic parameters, because DAO manage these parameters about interest rate, about interest rate model, and so on and so on. And DAO should take responsibility with their funds to set up these parameters pretty correct. If they would be pretty high, nobody would come and DAO could not generate more fees. If they could be pretty low, it could be a lot of late liquidations, and DAO would really leave money through this mechanism. So it creates a good feedback for DAO to be focused on parameters with responsibility. And maybe a few things which could be really done maybe during the hackathon. 2 days, it's not much to generate. I totally understand that. So with the team, we have a few ideas what could be done. Of course, the first point is to build some adapters. And just to show you how it works, basically, I don't know, I think we should have. Yeah, so it's not surprisingly and extremely difficult. So basically, you can see how it works line by line. It's an adapter for Uniswap v3. Can you hear font, or I can make it a little bit bigger? Yeah, let's try, yeah. Is it better? Yeah, nice, thanks. So basically, it's how to build Uniswap v3 adapter parameter. So we take original function, which is called exact int single with parameters, and all these data structures was taken from original Uniswap v3. We provide the same interface like original Uniswap, and as I said, if you send this call data to original contracts, your own fund would be involved. If you send to Gearbox adapter, the same call data, it would be executed with credit account funds. Then the first point, we get your own credit account. So there is pretty simple function which called credit account to revert. If you have no credit account yet, sorry, you will be reverted. If you had, we will definitely get address of this isolated smart contract which holds your funds and which funds should be executed. The next point, we really call to credit manager to check that this transaction has enough allowance, because it's like automatic approval, and we have two policy. For some contracts which we really trust, like Uniswap, we can create max int. For some contracts we do not trust, we increase this allowance, and after transaction we set it to 0. But Uniswap v3 we totally trust. If something happens with Uniswap, it would be end of DeFi, and we can go to build mobile applications for pizza delivery or something like that. So no worrying. Then we really update the recipient of transactions, so we want to get money back on credit account, not to send somewhere, just for security reason. Then you can see we really prepare call data with updated parameters. And then it's pretty interesting. We check balances of two tokens which would be swapped before just getting this balance of function. Then we really call function which called execute order, and this function translate your call data to credit manager, which translate to credit account, execute on behalf, and return bytes which decode it to amounts out. And then you just should run pretty simple function which is called check collateral change. And this function do all other magic. It compares how many collateral it was before and how many collateral you have at the moment, just comparing the difference. As I said, Gearbox is like you move assets between different boxes. And if it's enough collateral, it's okay, it's done. If there is some lack of collateral, your transaction would be reverted. It's how we keep things. So as you can see, it's pretty simple to build an adapter for third-party protocols and start to work there. Another point which we really definitely believe could be interesting is to build. Oh, is it clear at the moment, or any questions? Yes. Another point which is also could be pretty interesting is to build tokenized funds upon credit account, because sometimes people, special institutionals, they do not want to behave from one account. Basically, these people, you can really make some strategies on credit account side and provide tokens for people who trust you as a trader. It's also an option, like a shares of future profits. It also could be interesting. And of course, different strategies how to invest this money, how to get earn from convex, from earn, and so on and so on. A few days ago, Ilgis, our co-founder, has a really interesting strategy to invest a part of money in DeFi because it was a negative interest rate, and some of them into Gearbox. And this difference could also generate additional yield. So we do not limit it only with Gearbox. You can be totally creative here. And maybe some infrastructure things people also asked for. So we want to eliminate liquidations. When someone is liquidated, it's not well for this person and for the protocol too. Of course, we take liquidation fee, but it's not we are willing to create. Nobody could build a reliable business on liquidations as a protocol. So maybe any things like connection with protocols who could provide additional collateral, like DeFi Saver. You can build your own bot which could emergency send funds to you. You can simply swap some assets. For example, as I said, there is a liquidation threshold. So if you have debt in stablecoin and you have wrap BTC, of course, because liquidation threshold around 0.7, it's low valuated, and maybe as emergency things you can swap BTC back to stablecoin, which would increase health factor as a result. Maybe something there, because we definitely want to reduce the quantity of liquidations. And maybe Ivan, can you really say hello?
Hi.
Yeah.
Whatever I say.
Yeah, but basically you can provide some additional info about strategies. He is a very well experienced guy in strategies and how to earn money. Very successful guy. So basically, if you have any information about DeFi and all the protocols, he could also consult you. More questions? Yeah? No?
How many positions can there be in the account? Because like DWT is like the sum of stuff. So like when you calculate the value, do you actually like iterate through the positions?
Absolutely, yeah.
So there's a limit. And how large is it?
Yeah, so basically we have such a things which called allowed token list. It limits with 256 tokens because to reduce gas cost to compute this portfolio value, we have a few ideas. The first one, we keep inside the contract like a bit mask, and one as a bit means that this token has non-zero balance, and we should check it because each computation like quantity of token multiplied to price requires us to go to price feed, requires us to go to token contract, and of course on scale it could be not well. So basically at this point we have optimization to keep this bit mask to be more gas efficient. Another point which was implemented in V2, if we found that we have enough health factor, we stop to check in. Because we do not need to know how many health factor you have. We should just prove that it's more than one. So it also, and as I said, because we use bit mask in UIN 256, we have 256 tokens. In V1 we have I think around 15 tokens. In V2 it would be around 50 tokens as well. So many things, and basically up to you. I think it's cool if you won't even have a lot of them, because basically liquidation price, and to make liquidation profitable, it more depends on minimum allowed borrow amount. If you have a huge credit account, taking 5% could cover a lot of expenses. If you have like $100, taking 5% is just $5, and there is no way for you to make this liquidation profitable.
The assets are taken from Chainlink?
Yeah, so pretty cool questions. Thanks for asking. Yeah, so just a little bit sure about. So we have a Oracle things. We have a special contract which is called Price Oracle. It's a core contract which create like a service for other credit managers to compute such stuff. Basically, for basic assets, we use with Chainlink. And for LP tokens, we have a special contracts which compute these prices based on Chainlink price feeds. So let me show an example. Maybe. Yes. So this is an example how we compute, for example, YEarn, how we compute YEarn price. So as you can see, our Price Oracle has the same interface like original Chainlink price feed. So when you call latest round data, which is done by Price Oracle, it really get at first underlying asset of YEarn. Then we get price per share from YEarn pool, Fireview Vault. Then we have limits to be more safety, because sometimes maybe someone could find the way to manipulate with price per share. So to really reduce this risk, we compare, and if this price per share is out of bounds, we immediately reverse, and then we simply multiply to provide such a thing. So basically this approach could be really used for Earn, for Curve LP, and for Convex as well. So we do all this stuff for you. However, if you are willing to integrate new protocol, maybe you should start to consider how to compute some prices for tokens which you get as LP tokens there. Yep.
So how do you position yourself against?
Sorry?
How do you position yourself against Aave?
Aave?
Like I mean, probably in terms of lending, because
Yes,
like
lending.
you lend, you probably get like.
Yeah, it's.
So like, what's the opportunity of the liquidity provider?
Yeah, so basically, as you can see, using Aave, you can get up to X3 leverage. It's the best case. In Gearbox, you can get X10. which is much more efficient. And another point, which is also pretty cool, so let's consider how it works if we start to think about competition. So basically, let's assume that traders start different strategies. Some of them provide more profits, some of them provide lower profits, and it creates demand for pools, so interest rate goes up. And this interest rate makes some strategies less profitable. So people should really switch to most profitable ones. So for example, if you open as a trader, earn position when it was 4%, then the price go down. You have to really switch to convex to generate more APY. And it's why we create pretty cool interest rate for liquidity providers, because liquidity providers get like a part of your profits here. If you found a good way to get 6% APY from convex, it means that you will get 4 or 5 on the liquidity providers pool, and it's okay. More and more guys could go there, provide their money for passive strategies. Gearbox like a money market which can find good market equilibrium with extend leverage. I think it's a pretty cool at the moment.
So is there like any case where someone would prefer to use Aave for?
Yeah, absolutely, because Gearbox has a limited assets. You ask, if we have a limited asset in Aave, you can really provide 1S, get, I don't know, 0.8 USDC, and it's not a leverage at all. But by the way, you are definitely can work with this USDC with all protocols in a space. In Gearbox, we have limited protocols. However, even adding these 7 major DeFi protocols could cover maybe 80% of needs of traders and strategies, but we are pretty open, as I show you on Uniswap with free adapter. It's pretty simple to build such an adapter and connect more and more things. I believe we have maybe some lack of DeFi protocols which we could trust, because of course we have some serious attention to security, and if this protocol do not pass a few this protocol do not get some security audits from well-known firm, we simply as a DAO, I believe, do not connect it because it's a high risk. And maybe using our funds you can do that, but in Gearbox we create more safe way in connecting things. Yep.
Are you planning to bring Gearbox cross-chain?
Maybe we have some conversation to go to another chains, but at the moment we want to focus on Ethereum mainnet at the beginning. We are still very, very gas efficient. We're more gas efficient than Aave. So if you want to open some short or long position, Gearbox would be like 13% gas efficiency cheaper, so we focus on that. But when we would have enough liquidity, find better PMF strategy and people who use Gearbox on everyday basis, of course we can ask them which network are really needed for you to make more money, and we will follow real needs, not just to be deployed on 10 networks and then have a few users everywhere. So I believe we should really solve customer problems than just to go and check what's going on other networks. Any more questions? What's about timing, Ivan? We have 1 hour 50 minutes. So if you have no questions, as I said, we really definitely believe that we want to create a great developer experience. So feel free, if you get stuck, ask me. I think you can find, yeah.
Maybe some interesting ideas is to share what things can be done composably so that hackers can qualify for a few things at a time, you know? Like the cross-nomination with other sponsors, like.
Oh yeah, it's totally possible. Can you maybe provide some additional info?
I will send the link in Discord Discord and on Twitter. So yeah, like for example, notification with EPNS maybe, basis trading with UITX rates as you mentioned, adapter for 1H, something with Aave also.
Yeah, I think it's a good point because as I started, Gearbox is about composability, so we do not want to compete with other stuff. Instead of that, we try to combine and really work together. So I think it's a pretty cool idea to be integrated with more sponsors and create more value for end users. Because in V2, it's also a pretty interesting way we create this feature called multi-call, as I mentioned. So you can wrap a lot of stuff in one transaction. And basically, you create a widget for third-party side. You just go to LiDAR, and you can see you can get stake S, or you can press a button and get staked S with leverage. When you press this button, it opens a widget. You can set up how much leverage you want, enter amount, and then in one click, it opens your position or increase existing one if you have already open credit account. And for end user, it creates a very smooth UX because you shouldn't definitely go to our website either. You can really go to third-party website, make a one click, and it's done. And now you have X10 LiDAR position, which could generate a lot of stuff. So basically, we are really looking for developers who would be happy to create such things to work together and to be truly composable. It's a good point. So I think I mean maybe, yeah, let me show if you, yeah, wait a second. You can go to gearbox.fi to check so all things. You can go to our channel on Discord for ETHGlobal or to go to DAO because a lot of supporters there is in Gearbox DAO. They are pretty active to help you. Will be here in person, so feel free to ask. And one more question today I had from developer about testnets. So as from my experience, I participated in many blockchain hackathons. If a project could be shared by a link, so you can provide an ability for person just open your application and it works on testnet, it creates a good experience for people and for jury as well. So basically we have V1 deployed on Kovan, and to fulfill these needs, we create a special service which sync Uniswap pairs. It syncs chainlink price oracle as well, so you have prices updated with current mainnet. And I got the same problems when we deployed the first version. It was like 1S cost $400, and people say, oh, it doesn't work, it's buggy, there is no prices in a system like $400. After that, we create this thing, so if you need extra tokens, Kovan Ethereum as well, we can support you and provide wherever you want to be deployed, connected, feel free, and at the end of the day, you can make a really working application on Kovan. And I believe today we will deploy the second version. It requires much more syncing contracts because we are going to sync Earn, Convex, and Curve as well to provide a really smooth experience. So deploying on Kovan Playground, you will have the same services, the same protocols like on mainnet. I think time is up, yeah? Thanks so much, thanks guys. Thank you for your attention. And I hope today we will, and this weekend we will build something really interesting. Thank you, bye.